Hey you guys, it's Amy Gretchen. Welcome back. So this video is going to be a Lightroom video, but I don't want that to scare you off if you're not a Lightroom user. I would encourage you to watch anyway because I think Lightroom is a really powerful tool for photographers or for organizing and editing photos. But I also think it's amazing when working with photo projects, putting things together. And I'm going to show you how I'm using it today for my Week in the Life album. And so I'm going to encourage you to watch this even if you don't use Lightroom, because it might put you over the edge as why you want to use Lightroom, because it is so great for a project like Week in the Life or like December Daily or Project Life. Has so many uses, but I think it's awesome for these projects. I'm going to show you how I've organized everything today. So over here in my collections panel, and I do apologize if you are not familiar with Lightroom, some of these terms might seem unfamiliar, but just go along with me, right? So in my collections panel, I have organized all of my photos in a bin that is called Week in the Life. And then I have sectioned them off to each day of the week. And inside those days of the week, I have a collection that has all of the photos I took on Monday. And then I have the photos that I picked on Monday. So by picked, I mean, if you look here on some of these photos, you can see that I've got a flag here. So these photos, I feel like are the ones that I liked the best. And these are the ones that will potentially get inside of my album. So those will all go here. Now, what's really awesome about these collections that I've made, and you can see here, there's a little cog or a little flower or whatever you want to call it, right next to the rectangle. That's indicating that it is a smart collection. And what that means is there are rules associated with this collection, and Lightroom is going to obey those rules, and it's going to populate the collection based on those rules and parameters. Parameters. So when I double click on this that says all, I'm going to show you that in this smart collection, it is the rules or parameters for this smart collection is the capture date, and that is going to be for May 6th. So every photo I took on May 6th, it's going to pull into this smart collection. And then I'll cancel that out, and then I will double click on picked. And picked is showing that it is the same date. So the first rule is it's got to be on Monday the 6th. And then May 6th. And then the second rule is these have to be flagged. These photos have to be flagged like you see up here. So any photo that I have flagged that I took on May 6th, Lightroom is pulling into this collection. So it's doing it all for me. So I don't even have to think about it. I can just come to this collection set Monday, and I can look at all of my photos, or I can just look at the ones that I think are the best. And then I further created some collections, but this is what I've done in years past, and I'm not going to do that this year. I started doing it for Monday. You can see that I didn't do it for Tuesday, and I didn't do it for Wednesday, and I didn't do it for any of the other days because I decided to do something totally different that I've never done before, and it was a game changer. So I actually got this idea from Ingen, who is also on Ali Edwards' design team. She actually, I think in Photoshop, I'm guessing, basically digitally put together her book so she would know what photos to print at what size, whether it be a 6x8 or a 3x4. And then she knew how she was going to lay out her album. I thought that was really great because I think one of the hardest things besides the words for me, I always think the words are the hardest part, is really deciding what photos I want to add in there and at what size. So you can see here, if I have got 168 photos that I took on Monday, and then I've kind of pared those down to 69 photos. So there's 69 photos that I like, and there's 69 photos that could potentially end up in this album. Now that is a lot when you consider I'll probably only use like 16 So there's a lot of photos that I'm not going to that aren't actually going to end up in the album. But I'm okay with that. And the reason is because I will always have these photos to remember. I will always have these photos to look back on. And I'll always have these photos that I can tell different stories with. So I can always come back and use them for Project Life, for a scrapbook page, for whatever I want. So it's okay that I took 79 photos on Monday and I'm only going to use about 16 or so. But back to what I was saying before, what is the hardest part, I think, then, is trying to decide what 16 or 17 photos out of the 69 I'm going to use. So doing what Ingun did, which is laying it all out digitally before you print it out, it's actually really helpful because then you can see, oh yeah, this photo would be really great as a 3x4, or I actually don't like it there that way. You can make decisions and not waste any photo paper or any money if you're printing them out. I actually did have my photos printed, but I'll explain that in the end. So what I decided to do is over here, these are the modules that Lightroom has. So there's a library, develop, a map, a book, slideshow, print, and web. So I decided that I was going to create a book with my week in the life. So what I ended up doing is I came down here in the same week in the life bin and I created a book. Well, I actually created the book first and then it kind of populated it here. So what I would actually encourage you to do is to create a collection. So you'd come up here and just hit create collection. I'm going to do this, pretty fast. So if you've never made a collection, this might look unfamiliar to you, but I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make sure it's in the week in the life in 2019. Because you can see I have a week in the life in 2018. So you just got to look through the hierarchy. So I want it in week in the life. And then I'm going to uncheck this sync with Lightroom because I don't want it to sync with Lightroom right now. And I'm going to call this collection the week in the life book. And then I'm going to hit create. And you can see if we come down here, we have a new collection that is for week in the life. Then I'm going to go to every day and I'm going to highlight the picked photos. So I'm going to Control A or Command A in this collection. And I'm just going to drag and drop my photos into this collection. And I'm going to do that with all of the photos that I have here. And you can see that it's continuing to populate as I click on a photo. Make sure you've highlighted one photo, Control or Command A, and then just drag and drop. It is really that easy. And like I said, you can just see the photos start to populate as I go along. And, I don't need to show you all this, but why not? I might as well. We'll see how many actual photos that I had that I picked that I really liked, that I'm having to populate a book with, which you'll see. It's actually probably more beneficial to not take as many photos, right? But like I said, I can use them for lots of other things. And so it's fine. I don't mind. All right. So now I've got this week in the life book. So I have like 485 photos that I love. All right. Now there's only going to be a fraction of that actually make it into my album. So now that we actually have this collection made, we are going to create our book, or we're going to do a pseudo digital book that's going to help us to figure out what photos we want and need to print. So I'm going to come over here to the book module, and I think based on your settings, it might start populating and creating a digital book for you, which would be super cool, right? This is maybe something that you could fine tune and just go ahead and print out and add some journaling if you want. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. That could be really, really cool. You can see that it's populating with 485 photos. So, you might want to edit and delete things. You can see like all these photos are very similar. So if this is something that you wanted to do and actually print it out and do it digitally, that is awesome. It's just auto-populating it for me, but this isn't something that I want to do. It just kind of did it automatically. So I'm going to come up to this option that says clear book. So I'm just going to go ahead and clear that book because we want to start from scratch. But I just want you to know that that's definitely an option. If you want to have Lightroom do it for you, it might be able to create a fun book for you. But before I get into creating this book, I actually want to show you the book that I made so we can kind of see where we're going. So the book that I made, I'm just going to click on it because I have it saved here. You can tell it's saved here because it kind of looks like a book. And I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to show you the formula that I used for this album. I'm going to walk you through that so we can figure out exactly how we want to, populate this book, or put the book together so that we can populate it with photos. So the first page is my transparency, and the transparency has a big 2019, and I think I may have put this on my Instagram stories. If you saw my video that has the words for my Week in the Life album, I believe that you can see it there. It's just a big acrylic 2019 that I got from Ali Edwards. I think it was one of the additional items that you could have bought with one of her kits. So I have that in the front. Then this is actually a non-page, just a blank page. It's just there because I have to have it there. Then the next page it's actually not going to be a full page. So what I've decided to do is, if you see a white page with this grid, it's either a transparency or it is just going to be blank. So this is obviously blank. This is just going to be the size of the photo. It's not actually going to be this full size here, right? So it's just going to be the size of the photo. And I can't decide what size I'm going to print this out of yet, but I'm going to have a photo of all of us. And then on the back side, I'm going to have some details about us. So it'll probably say something like right now. And then I will have each of our names, our ages, and what we're into. So I've done that in previous albums, and I seem to really like that. In fact, I think I'm starting very similar to how I started last year, and that doesn't bother me at all. If it works, it totally works, and I'm really happy with it. So the next one is a large full photo, and I haven't quite decided if this is going to be inside the page protector or outside the page protector. I think I printed a large enough photo to be outside a page protector, but I think I might want it to go inside now that I am thinking about it. But I'm going to have a quote on this. So this is the quote that Ali had on her blog that she has at the beginning of her album. It's from the musical Hamilton, and I really liked it, and I thought that could be really cool there. So I'm going to have that there just behind all of this. And then on the back side of that is actually going to be my calendar. So this is an up close look at our week and what was going on, or just kind of like what was not I guess you could say events, or the things that were scheduled in for that week. I just took a screenshot on my iPad. So I thought that would be fun to add in there to give a little bit more context. And then starts Monday. So this is actually a blank page. I know it has a big M on it. And this is going to be the transparency. This is the blank page. So the transparency, I think it will have a Monday on there, but this is just something that's on here now to kind of help me know when does Monday start and when does Tuesday start. You can see that I've got the Tuesday down there. Then after that, I'm going to have a large photo. So this will definitely be outside the page protector. And then I'm going to have the back side of that. And then I'll have my journaling for the day, and check out my video. Hopefully you've seen it, but if you haven't, check out my video and you can see what I'm doing with my journaling. I already have that done, which is awesome because I feel like that is the one thing that trips me up every time I'm working on the album is my journaling, but I'm so happy that it is done. And then I'm going to have a 4-up page protector. So the 3x4s. Then I have the back side of that. Then I'm going to have one of those 2x2 page protectors. So I guess it is the 12 up 2x2 squared page protectors. And I'm going to cut it off. So it's only going to end up being then 2x4. So this is actually going to be 4 inches. And then I need the back side of that. And then every day I have decided that I'm going to tell a different story that is about the entire week. So it's not going to be specifically to Monday. It's going to be specifically to the entire week. So like one of the stories I'm going to tell, I'm going to have a map and I'm going to have all the places that we went during the week. Another thing is like ing words or counting. Like I'm going to count laundry and cups of water and things like that. So I kept notes as I was going along throughout the week. So that's just stuff I need to put together. Depending on the size of the journaling will depend on this size. So maybe some of them will be a 3x4, which is kind of what I think this is. And maybe it won't. I'm not sure. So it will just depend on each day. I know the map takes up like the majority of the page. So just kind of depend. Then on the back side of that, I will, depending on the size, maybe put something else on there. I could maybe do another photo. I could do another little story. I'm not sure. I'll do something there. Then I've got the 2-up page protector, so the 2 4x6s, and then the back side of that. And then I have another large photo and another large photo on the back. Currently, I have these printed, so they will be outside the page protector, but I think I will put them inside a page protector now that I am looking at them. I don't think I did that very well. Anyway, so now we are starting on Tuesday, and I am going to do the exact same formula that I did for the Monday. It's just going to look the exact same. You could totally mix it up if you wanted to mix it up. Like for instance, you could do like one of the 3-up page protector, just depending on the photos that you wanted to use. So this is just how I wanted it to go. And so I didn't really deviate. I just kind of kept it the same. All right, so once I had that created, then I was just able to copy and paste for the remainder 6 days. So I'm going to just show you quickly how I put this together. So I'm going to come back to my Week in the Life book collection, and you can see I'm going to stop it because it's populating it again, and I'm going to clear this book. And the one thing that we want to do is we want to change the size. So this is a 7x7. And the thing that's kind of a bummer about the book module, and I hope that they change this, and I'm a little bummed because I saw that they just updated it for 2019 and they hadn't changed this. But they have a different books. They use blurb, so you can use one of the blurb book sizes, or you can do a JPEG, or you can do a PDF. And I'm pretty sure... Yep, the JPEG and the PDF, they have the same sizes. So I have to pick from these sizes, and the closest to a 6x8 is a 6x9. So keep in mind when I'm working on this, and you saw this with this album, is you can tell it's a little bit taller and skinnier, but you know, we're not printing out this album. This is just a placeholder so we know what what photos we want to print. So keep in mind that the picture is going to look a little bit more like that and not as long. But you know, I just decided to do the full page to get the look of it, right? So we're going to do a 6x9 just because that is the closest one to it, and we are going to populate this so it stays the way we want. I'm going to go back to a 6x9. Keep in mind when you're working on an album like this, you're going to want to hit create saved book so it will save all of the changes that you made. All right, so we are going to start off this book with a transparency. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to click on this first page. I'm going to come over here where it says, and I'm just going to get rid of this so we can see the auto layout. I don't need the auto layout actually. I'm going to come to where it says pages, and I'm going to add a page. But instead of adding a page, I actually want to add a blank page. And this is going to be my transparency. So I'm going to move my transparency over, and then I'm going to create a couple more blank pages because remember, this is going to be blank. This is like a non-page, right? Because there, you know, you don't really do the back side of a transparency, or you could say this is the back side of the transparency. And then this is going to be that photo of my family, right? And it's going to be the smaller photo of my family. So I'm going to come down here to change the page, and I want to go to one photo, click on that, and I'm just going to scroll down to where I find one photo that's, you know, like this, right? So it's just kind of a little bit smaller, and I can adjust and customize this to the size that I want. And then since this is highlighted and I click add page, it's going to add the same page, right? It's not adding my changes, but I can just go ahead and add changes, keeping in mind this is not going to be for actual printing, right? We are just using this as a placeholder. And then I'm going to, so this is the front of it, and now this is the back of that photo. And then I need to have one large photo. And then I need the back of that large photo. So I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to click add page. And remember, it's just going to add the exact same page that it was on. And now I'm going to add a couple blank pages because I want to do the transparency, right? So this is going to be the transparency for Monday. And then this is going to be a blank page. And then we need to do a full bleed photo. So I'm actually going to add a page here. And because this was the last page it added, it's going to add a full page photo. And then I'm just going to do that one more time. Okay, so now we have the full pages. Now, if you're like me and you want to say, okay, this is Monday, I want to, make sure I know it's a Monday, I'm going to click on that. And what you can come down here and do is we want to go to the type and we want to add, I think I'm going to right click on there, and will it let me add cell? It's only letting me add a photo. So I'm just going to come down here to text pages, and I can click on any text page I want because I just want to let it remind me that this is a Monday. So what I'll end up doing is, let's make this big. I just double tapped on it to make it big. Then I'm going to click Monday, and I'm going to type Monday, and you can see that it is in the top corner. If I can type Monday, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to come down to the text, and it doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter the style or anything like that. I just want to make it big so that I know it's a Monday. I'm going to bring it down a little bit, and now I'm going to come back to my grid. So the multi-page view. And now I know that this is a Monday. I could have just done an M if I wanted to do that, no problem. But I just wanted to know for my own self that this is when Monday starts. So then blank page, full size photo. And then after that, this is when I did my text pages, right? So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to just click back up here to page. So I'm going to add a page and add a page, and you can see that they're full photos, which I don't want. Actually, I will probably just remove that. So I only have to do it once. I'm going to right click and then remove cell. So I will highlight 11. So this is page 11, and I'm going to come down here to then text pages, and I'm just going to click on this page, which is going to indicate that this is going to be a text page. And then I can just highlight that and add a page. And now it's going to add the same page. So now I have my front of my text page, and then the back of my text page. And then this page, I want to do the 4 up. So I'm going to click on this arrow, and I'm going to go to where it says 4 photos on a page. And then I'm just going to click here for the 4 photos. And then I will add a page, and now it's going to do the back side. Now the next one is just a little bit complicated. Doesn't have to be. I'm just going to add a page here, and I am going to come down to multiple photos per page. And I'll probably click on this first one here, and I'm going to double click on it. Now, to make it easier on yourself, you could just go ahead and I'm just going to shift click on all of these, right click, and I'm going to remove the cells, because remember, we only are needing 8 cells. And then you can just leave it at this, and it can be small, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. Or you can do what I did, and you want to make sure that this hand is right on top of the center square. I'm just going to come up and to the corner, move it to the corner, and drag. Now, is this going to be a perfect square? No, it probably isn't. And it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to, the problem is you can only do one at a time. And what I've realized is you cannot copy and paste. That has been my experience. I totally could be wrong. Maybe I'm not doing something right. But it's super easy. Once you get one, you can just kind of create the other ones. And like I said, it really does not matter at all if it's exactly a perfect square, because remember, we're not printing these. So what you could do now that you've got this in place, because we're going to need it again, you right click, and then click on Save as a Custom Page. So when you save it as a custom page, it's going to come in here to your custom pages. So you can see that I have created some custom pages here, right? So that's the custom page that we just created. So now I'm going to come back to the multi-page view. So I have that we just created. Then I'm going to add another page, which is going to add this one. So because we altered this one, right? So I'm going to come down here to my custom pages, and we'll just go to that one that I made. Well, that's not the one. I guess I didn't save it. All right, so we'll just come down here to this one that I had made previously, and now we've got the back side of that. And I will hit add page, and it's super easy just to change to the one photo, because remember I wanted to do, I'm going to have a separate story here, and I'll just do these separately. So I've got the front and the back, and then I'm going to add page again. You can see that it's repeating that, and I'll just go to one photo. We'll do full page, and then one photo, full page. Whoops, didn't do full page. I promise you I can do this. All right, so that's my formula starting here, right? So I'm going to click on this page, and I think you have to click on every page. So I'm just shifting, clicking, and then make sure you've got everything highlighted, and then I am right clicking and hitting copy layout. Now, what I want to do, and I realized this when I was working on it before, is I want to add a blank page. Whoops, I added too many. Let's remove that page. I'm going to click on the blank page, and then I'm going to, let's see, Command V, or I can right click, and hit paste layout. That's right, because this is going to be my Tuesday. So then I'll click on the text, and then I'll just put in Tuesday, and I can come back here or come down here to the cell, and I'm just going to make the character a lot bigger and come back here to the multi-view. Okay, so now I'm going to come down here to the blank page. You can see that it created a blank page for me. I'm going to hit Control V this time. Maybe it won't work. I did Control V. Now I'm going to do Wednesday, and I'm going to just change the character larger. Okay, so I'm going to do that for every single day. And, oops, I need to make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to do this for every single day so that I can begin to populate it. Now, one thing that I want you to, to make mention is we have all the photos in here, but they are organized in the way that we put them in, and I put them in Monday through Sunday. So keep in mind, they're going to be organized Monday through Sunday, and you will know, at least I will know, when I hit the end of Monday, because you can see that the photos start turning into night and then start turning into day. Or you can just make sure that you have your photos. If I highlight my photo, you can see my actual name there, how it has the date, week in life, and then Monday. So I know it's Monday, and then I know that this one is the start of Tuesday. And then I can go through my Tuesday photos, and I can be like, okay, it's starting to get night. I can tell that that's the evening. And then here we are back on Wednesday. So that's how I know when I can, stop doing Monday photos and begin my Tuesday photos. So what I will end up doing is I will just go back and forth looking through my Tuesday photos at photos I think that I want to add. So for instance, I did this at the very end. Okay. The beginning of my book, I did this at the very end. So I'm starting with Monday, and I'm like, you know what? I like that. I think I will start with that. And I think that is the photo that I ended up starting with. And then I'll just kind of move it around. It doesn't really matter because, again, these are just placeholders, right? They're not getting printed. And then I'll keep looking at a photo that I like, and I'm like, Oh, you know what? I kind of like this one of me working out. So maybe I'll put that in one of the 3x4s. And this one of Megan and the puppy. You know what? Maybe I'll do that as a 2x2. I really think this one is cute. And that might be a good 4x6. So we will move this down a little bit. Oh, I didn't do the 4x6. Okay. So we forgot to add some photos, which is totally fine. I'm going to click on, except for the fact that we copy and pasted, you could just copy and paste them in. I'm only going to do it once, but click on where you want it, to add a page to begin. And then we're just going to come up here to add, we'll just do add a blank page. For some reason it is stuck. Add a blank page, and then click on that and do 2 photos. So we just want to make sure it's 2 photos, and then we'll add a page and it's going to be those 2 photos. So that's how you can easily do that. And I think, I can't remember if they were before or after, it doesn't really matter, but you can easily move things around if you needed to. All right. So I'm looking at this photo. I'm like, that's a good 4x6 photo. So I'll put that there. Oh, this one would probably be a good 3x4. So I'll put that there. And I just keep kind of moving along. And I think I might want this to be blank in my album. So we'll see. I'll leave that blank now. So I just kind of keep populating it until I feel like I've got the photos that I want in there, right? That's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one, although this could be a cute one for a 3x4. Maybe one of me working in the afternoon. Flowers. I always really love flowers as, a large photo. So I could do that. And one of the things I really like about this is helping me kind of choose, like, that's not bad, but I think maybe one of these photos where the flowers are a little bit closer would be nicer. So I'll choose that one instead. And I saw one, this I think would be a fun 4x6 of us in the car. So you can see that I'm just kind of going through, picking ones that I think would be good. I've got, like maybe this would be good with the food I eat with my friends. Maybe this would be a good 2x2. And this is really how quickly I did it. I think this is the photo in the end that I ended up using, and I really debated it, but I liked the quote that I put on it. And I rarely get photos like that in our garage because it's not very awesome. But I think that ended up being the last page just because I really liked the journaling for it. So you can see that I obviously missed some things here. So I'll go back and I'll look, and I will fine tune, everything. Maybe there's this, and I'm like, oh no, those are too similar. So maybe I'll switch these 2 around, and I'll have it be this one of me and the puppy. And you're like, oh, that's not a great photo. So maybe this one. Maybe this is the one that I'll use. So, I don't like that one either. So it's just a matter of, moving things around and trying to figure out what I want to do. And I don't really like that. So I'm just going to remove the photo. You want to make sure you put remove photo. So I would just go back and forth and look. And in fact, this is the one that I used. This is us doing the dishwasher, Belle and I. And it's funny because Lola kept getting in the way. You can see this photo here. This might have been a funny one to use, but I decided to go ahead and use that one for the large one. So those are the 2 large ones. And I don't have everything populated, but that is basically what I did. I looked through the photos, I moved stuff around and got it until I felt like it really told a great story. Because in truth, I would be happy with any of these photos being in the album. So it's just a matter of finding the ones that I felt best told the story. So when I was done with that, then it's all about getting my photos printed, right? So the easiest way I thought to do this would be to create another collection, which was a collection set, which is what they're called, these bins. And I have it set for print. And I made a collection for 2x2 photos, 3x4 photos, 4x6 photos, and 6x8 photos. So what I ended up doing is I went through the entire album and I'd click on the photo, and then I'm just dragging and dropping it into where it says 6x8. I'm doing the same thing. I'm dragging it, dropping it into the 6x8. And then I would move on to my 3x4s, and I would drag it into the 3x4, and I would do it with every photo. Now I tried to select all of them and to move all of them at the same time, but I couldn't do that. I had to do each individual photo, which is fine. Just go in the right order. And you know what? Let's say I do this one, a 4x6, and then I do this one and I put it in the 3x4, or excuse me, these are 3x4s. So I put these in the 3x4s, both of them. And if I already accidentally put them in there, it doesn't repeat them. It only puts it in once. If it's in there once, it won't add it twice. So I just went through and did all of them. Then I move on to my 2x2s, and then I would come up here and I would do my 2x2s, and then I would do my 4x6s, and then I would add this more 6x8s. So that is how I did it. Then once I have everything in print, I would click on, let's say I'm going to click on, let's do my 4x6 photos, because these will be the easiest ones. So I'll click on my 4x6. Then we need to go to the print panel. Well, actually, before you guys do that, I want to make sure, let's go back to the book that we were creating. I want to make sure that you create, or excuse me, you create a saved book. So you definitely want to, and I'm just going to hit create. You definitely want to create this into a book, and you can see that it's right here underneath this collection, just because, you know, if you walk away from it, you want to make sure that it is completely saved. So I'm going to come back up here to my 4x6 photos, and you can see now it's trying to populate into a new book, but I'm just going to come over here to print. And I have a template that is set already for my 4x6 photos. So I have a bordered one, and I also have a borderless, and I'm going to do the borderless. And keep in mind, I have a video on YouTube showing you how I create these templates. So you can watch that if you want a more in-depth of how to create a template in the print module. And then I can just go ahead and print these. I can just send these to print, right? I can go to printer and send them to print, and they'll print on my PM400. However, I think I saved a little bit of money. I don't know yet, because I've never done it, but I decided to send these off to Persnickety, because you can see here, well, you can't see, I'm going to come down. You can see that I have 29 6x8 photos, and it ended up being, I thought that it would take just way too much ink and cost me way too much to print at home. So I decided to have Persnickety print them, but it was like $1.99 per photo. So I don't know, it cost me like $60 just to do those. But I was thinking I was going to save myself some money, and I think I did. So I sent them to Persnickety, and I'm waiting for them to come. So if you want to do something like that, if you want to send them out to, you know, let's say Costco or Persnickety or whatever, you want to come down to JPEG file, and then you want to come to print to file. When you click print to file, it's going to ask you where you want to send these to print. And I will just, it doesn't really matter, but I can do Dropbox, come down to week in the life, and then 2019, and then I could have them printed in here. You can see that I have my 3x4s and my 4x6s and my 6x8s. Like, I made an album, selected that folder, and then I'm having them prepared for print. So what's it doing is it's creating a file that is a 4x6 file, so I can send that up to be printed, right? So if I want to do my 3x4s, you can see, again, I'm going to come up to my templates, and I have a 3x4 already set up. I got one with the borders, one without. I think I printed everything without the border. And what you'll want to do is you'll want to go through these 3x4 photos, and you want to make sure that they are looking nicely. So you might want to move them around a little bit so they're exactly how you want them to be. And once you get them exactly how you want them to be, then you can do the same thing. You can either print at home, or you can go to this JPEG file option, and you can print it to file, create another file that is for your 3x4 photos, and then send it to print, and it will actually populate that file or that folder so that you can put that then online to get printed. And then you want to do the exact same thing with your 6x8 photos. So now I need to go up to my template that is for my 6x8 page protector. And this one, I want you to keep in mind when you're doing this to, this is actually a 6x6. Well, no, this is a 6x4. So let's come up here to the 6 3/4 by 8 2/5, or excuse me, 1/4. And I want you to just make sure when you set up the page, you want to set up the page so it is going to be the size that you want to have printed. So I want to have this printed as an 8x10. So click on that as an 8x10, hit OK. And now it's going to be 8x10 size. So when I send it off to print, it's going to print an 8x10, and then I'll just have to cut out this photo. But make sure the cell size, so under the cell size of this photo, which is right here, this is going to be the size of the photo that you want. So if you want this to be an 8x6, you can just change it to an 8x6, and now you have an 8x6 there. But I would just make sure that the outside is the size you want printed. So when we did the 4x6 and the 3x4 photos, we put 2 3x4 photos on one 4x6. So we will print all of those 4x6. And then of course the 4x6 will be printed as a 4x6. And these 6x8s will be printed as an 8x10 because that was the best way for me to do it, since they were actually a little bit bigger than a 6x8. I had to have them printed as an 8x10. Anyway, you guys, this is how I was able to organize my photos and choose my photos for print. And I honestly cannot tell you how much time I saved. I know it seemed like we spent a lot of time setting up that book, but it actually saved me a ton of time trying to figure out exactly what photos I wanted at what size, and just to send everything off to print. It took me a couple of hours, and usually it would take me a lot longer. So I hope that at some rate I convinced you how powerful it is to organize everything, and just how great Lightroom is when it comes to working with our photos, whether we're organizing, editing, creating a book, or whatever it is that we need to do. It is such a powerful piece of software, and I love it. Anyway, you guys, if you have any questions, please leave them. I know I sped through this. I just wanted to show you how I was using this and how I was able to choose my photos. But if you would like more in-depth on how I'm using the software, just let me know and I can show you how to use some of these modules. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.